Scenic Hotel Group, a place to stay no matter your staycation. From the Legacy Collection, Scenic Hotels, Suites and Resorts, and Heartland Hotels. Find your place to stay at scenichotelgroup.co.nz.
Cameron Brown is one of New Zealand's greatest ever long-distance triathletes. He's a 12-time Ironman New Zealand champion and 4-time Ironman World Championship podium finisher. After an illustrious career spanning well over 3 decades, the 2023 Ironman New Zealand next Saturday in Taupō will be his 25th and final event as a professional triathlete in Taupō anyway. Cameron Brown is with us. Cameron, thanks for your time. How long have you been thinking about this decision to call it quits as a professional triathlete?
Probably about 10 years ago I was thinking about it. And,
that's awesome.
Then you just keep carrying on, and another year passes, and I was just, as a 40-year-old I was thinking about it, but, a good race would come along and you'd do well, and then, as the years have passed, and now I'm close to 51 and still doing the same job I was when I left school many years ago.
So was there a temptation then, as you say, you've warded off any thoughts of retirement for the last decade or so, any chance you thought you might ward it off for another year at least? I'm going to continue for this year. I've still got a few bucket list races to do. Ironman Australia, hopefully, and Ironman Canada, which were part of the original sort of 5 original Ironman events around the world back in the late 80s, so they're on my bucket list. But I think there's plenty of more adventures out there that I'll be doing over the years. It's just as an amateur and not as a professional. Now that you've made this decision, are you at peace with it? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's when you think, I keep trying to remind myself I'm not a 20-year-old. I'm a 50-year-old, and the time has come. But you still have goals all the time popping into your head, and what the body, the body still can do some good sessions. So it reminds you that you're still capable of doing great things and big things. But it is time to probably start slowing down a little bit and looking after himself. Can I take you back to the time when you were a 20-year-old professional athlete, when you were in the early stages of your career? What do you remember most vividly about the early part of your professional career? I think it was just when triathlon was really raw, and it was, it was still progressing as a sport with the technology and nutrition, and when I first started in 1987. The sport was, very, very young, and with the likes of Rick Wells and Aaron Baker that were taking the lead for New Zealand, and then it was a great time, and it's continued to grow as a sport, and we've seen, as I said, 5 Ironman original events back in those days to now there's just hundreds around the world, and triathlon in any country around the world you could go and do at any stage, really. So it's as a sport, it's really grown, and it's fantastic to see. Has that been the sense of some sort of pride for you that you've been, right in the mix of a sport that has developed, around you, if you like? Yeah, definitely. I've seen, when I first started, we were on steel bikes, and then, it was introduced to aluminium and then carbon, and carbon is just completely, my bike is just a complete carbon bike now, really. It's the lightness of the bikes, the aerodynamics of the bikes. We've seen a massive technology upgrade in bikes, that's for sure. And it's all electric now. You just push a button and you change your gears, and the power meters, heart rate monitors, GPS, for running, for biking. It's just quite incredible, the technology that is taken place over those years. So it's pretty cool to see, and we've seen massive advancements, probably the biggest advancements in time-wise, coming off those Ironman. If you won an Ironman in 8.5 hours, it was considered fantastic. Now, pretty much everyone is you're going under 8 hours. It's extremely fast now. The swimming and running has relatively stayed the same over those years. 2001, your first Ironman New Zealand Championship. How proud a moment was that for you? Yeah, it was a dream come true. I'd watched the race when it was in St Heliers, Auckland, back in the 80s, and we'd followed the race the whole day.
dreamt about winning it, and to have that day happen in 2001 was pretty special. It was an absolute dream come true, and to go on to win another 11 of them was pretty special as well.
Just want to ask you about that period in your career, because that same year, 2001, you had your first podium at Kona, the first of 4 podiums between 2001 and 2005. Was that the competitive peak of your career?
Yeah, I think probably I remember Peter Reid, who won the race, saying, you're pretty much done at 33, I think the last time he won, and we've seen just athletes continue to push the boundaries of what they can do, and I probably had even some of my greater races at 40. So I think athletes were gone retired back in the day at 25. Now it was 30, 35, 40, and I'm sort of pushing the boundaries as a 50-year-old. So, but as you age, you definitely that fatigue and that risk of getting injured really takes another step up. So it's you have to be very, very careful how to treat your body. That's for sure.
Do you think your mental resilience, though, improves as you get older?
Yeah, I think so. You learn what your body can cope with, what it can handle, and if you don't look after it, then it will fall apart. And I think I was very lucky in the early part of my career that I was able to stay injury-free, and it was probably the last 5 years have been pretty bad with calf injuries sort of happening every year. But that's where strength and conditioning plays a massive part. And I think as we age, we need to get in the gym more and more as an aging athlete.
How big a part of it, though, is the mental side, Cameron? Because it can't be easy being out there. There must be times, and I've seen you thrash your body in these events. How do you mentally make yourself so competitive?
Yeah, I mean, physically it's demanding, but mentally as well. It's very, very easy to give up in tough situations, especially when you're out there for 8 hours. It's not like a short distance triathlon where it's done and dusted in an hour and you can suffer for that time. But when it's a prolonged period and 8 hours of it's probably like someone sticking a needle and you just continuously, and it's short, sharp. It's not a short, sharp pain. It's a long, continuous pain. So if you're not mentally prepared to suffer, then you're not going to win the race or be on the podium. So you really have to be willing to put in that in training as well and in racing and be prepared, because it's no use getting on the start line and being tired or not willing to sacrifice and push yourself to 100%. Then you're not going to achieve your goals.
Does experience tell you that pain that you've just described there with the needle basically in you for hours on end, does experience tell you that will go away, or that you'll just feel better about it once you've finished?
Oh, I don't know about knowing, because probably the next 3 days you're walking around like a 90-year-old. It's probably the following 3 days are terrible. But you see anyone who's run a marathon or something as well. It's not a fun state to walk down any flight of stairs either. So it's inflicting pain over not 8 hours, but 72 hours after the race as well. So you have to be prepared for that as well. And it's next Saturday when we line up, we'll be hurting on race day. But it's the hours afterwards that probably you're pretty much better to go out and go for an easy bike ride. But after to recover, but mentally you just don't want to do anything for quite a few days afterwards.
I can imagine. And those are the expected, repercussions of what you do. But what about the unexpected ones? Have you had many hairy moments on the bike, for example, when you're going at high speed or anything similar to that?
Oh yeah, when I was an 18-year-old, it was cycling around any part of the country, especially Auckland. It was fine, but nowadays it's you have to be very, very wary on the bike. There's just 3 or 4 times the traffic amount that was back in those early years. So I try and get out on the country roads and the quiet roads as much as possible. But it's one thing that it still scares you. Every time I go out for a ride, if it could be your last. So you do have to be very wary of New Zealand conditions, and our roading is pretty shocking. I've never seen so many potholes in my 35 years of this sport. So you hope they start to get cleaned up and we start building better roads, that's for sure.
Indeed. Alongside your competitive career, you've held ambassador roles with Melanoma New Zealand, raising awareness for sun safety, Breath for cystic fibrosis, promoting awareness of cystic fibrosis in the community, encouraging kids to stay fit and healthy. What drove you to want to get involved with those organisations?
Well, yeah, they were just a great fit for, I think, for staying fit. And, I mean, when I'm out in the sunshine for sometimes, 7-8 hours a day, you have to look after your skin as well. So that was, especially, from my dad as well, he's suffered from a lot of skin cancer as well. So it's something I'm very, very passionate about, keeping, your skin, in top shape. And, yeah, it's piling on sunscreen even when it's in winter time, that's for sure. And then cystic fibrosis is another thing that if you can get out and exercise, it's great for those kids that suffer from that terrible disease. So they were I was a long time ambassador for them as well. So it's one of those things that you're just passionate about, and hopefully they can get the support that they need through our sport.
Oh, good on you. And Rick Wells was a real trailblazer for triathlon, wasn't he? Has he been someone who's played a big part in your career?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I'll speak to Wellsy, once a week, probably even now. And, he's doing some great things with his Dewdrop Challenge, which has been postponed for another month due to the current conditions with all the roads and that, and the cyclone that's, just ripped through us. So he was, to see a Kiwi do well in your sport and on the world stage, just motivates you that, hey, you can do it, because we are a small nation, and we are, we were only a country of 3 million back in the day, and it's if we didn't have him pioneering the sport along with Aaron Baker, then it would have been pretty tough. But he was the first world champion back in 1987, and he was my hero and a lot of people's hero. So he was just incredible for our sport, and putting triathlon on the map really for us, and especially in the media, that's for sure.
Just a couple more for you, Cameron. I'm always curious with triathletes about the ranking of most favourite to least favourite of the three disciplines. What is it for you?
Well, it started off, I was a very, very average runner in the day, and in the end, it ended up being my strength through Ironman and my strongest discipline. So from being my weakest, it ended up being my strongest. So that was something. But I love cycling, and New Zealand has some incredible terrain, but probably my favourite would have to be running on some of the greatest trails in the world. I've just been out in Maraetai Forest, and it's nothing like getting out on a nice sunny day, cicadas chirping away through the forest, and just singlet shorts and a bit of sweat. Nothing better.
Terrific. And now you're, of course, giving back to the sport, as you have been for a long time, head coach of the triathlon program, I understand, at St Kitts. And you must be really proud of some of the athletes you oversee, and I think the Nationals are coming up in the not-too-distant future. Can you tell if a young triathlete has got something a bit extra special about them?
Yeah, definitely. It's you don't just have to be a good swim, bike, or runner. It's a combination of everything. Looking after yourself, being on time, being diligent with nutrition, and so it's a whole combination. It's triathlon's greater than the sum of its parts, that's for sure. And you've got to get everything right. And some of the times the most talented athletes won't make it because they don't do the small things right. So it's the bigger picture, and we've definitely got some great kids in the future that are coming through triathlon, and it's exciting to see. Hayden Wild is doing that now through the short course, and he's the future star of the sport of triathlon. That's for sure. So the kids are looking up and seeing what he's doing, and knowing that another Kiwi is doing it for us. So let's try and follow and push on.
Well, what a career you've had. You've inspired so many people, Cameron. Thanks for taking the time for a chat. Taupo next Saturday. So have you got a target time in mind, a target place? What does success look like next weekend for you?
Who knows? Yeah, the last few years have been hampered by injury and sickness. So, just want to have a good performance that I'm proud of. And I know, if everything goes right, I can have a good day. So just wishing I wake up ready to fire, and it's taper week now, so I'll be resting up as much as I can and trying to get the 50-year-old body ready for battle on next Saturday.
Good on you, mate. Hey, thanks so much again for taking the time for a chat. Congrats on your career and all the best next weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jason.
Hello, I'm Francesca Rudkin.
And I'm Louise Airy, and we're excited to be working with the New Zealand Herald on our new podcast, The Little Things.
So Louise and I have been friends for probably over 13 years now, and we've been through it all: kids, relationships, health crises,
menopause.
Let's not get into that just yet.
But I think we can both agree that there are times we just wish we had one place to go for some explanations on what's going on with our bodies, our kids, and the relationships in our lives.
And this podcast is all about those little things that women need to know about getting older, raising kids, staying healthy, and taking care of yourself at whatever age and stage you're at.
So join us every Saturday to hear from the experts and get all the advice and tips you need.
Listen to The Little Things at nzherald.co.nz or follow us at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.